to talk about the new recreation center, the new community center that was great news to all of us. Very exciting stuff. So Christy Williams is here to present to us about what we're going to have.
Great. So I have a presentation that I gave to the select board on September 12th, which really introduced the topic and talked about some of the history. I think a lot of you all know about the history, the fact that we've been talking about this for a long time. Those slides are available on the town's website. And so really talking about how this has been a conversation since we renovated this building, the Forbes Municipal building. And then at that time, we lost the gym space that was in here. And so sort of initiated that conversation when that was going on, talking about creating a rec center that was really just 2 gyms and some offices and 1 classroom. And then it's been talked about through several planning documents, strategic plan, master plan. Senior needs assessment has talked about the need for looking at the multi-generational center, and then really focused on seniors' interest in different kinds of programming, including active programming. So instead of going through my slides, because you've probably all seen them, Jen's going to actually go through her slides, but I'm certainly happy to help answer any questions. I think as we look at this opportunity, it's a 63,500 square foot building. So there's the 2 levels. So it's the building at the end of Bay State Common. The top level has a lot of rooms already separated out. So there's some opportunity for some programming to happen pretty immediately if we were to move forward. There's a pool, there's a basketball court. Jen has lots of ideas that she'll share with you. And then there's offices, so we could move the rec offices over there pretty immediately. The downstairs is 31,000 square feet. The intention would be to move the senior center over there. The current senior center is 8,655 square feet, so it's a little over 3 times the size of the current senior center. And part of what we've heard is that there needs to be some additional space and programming for the senior center. So being able to take advantage of that space, but understanding that there's actually a lot of room for the community to weigh in on what else we might want to put there. So we had a great meeting with the Council on Aging this afternoon to talk about this opportunity. I think some of the feedback we've gotten is that just came up publicly on the 12th, so it feels quick. But you should know that the select board's been talking about it for a really long time. As you know, negotiations happen in executive session, but it's been a really thoughtful process, and we're at a point where we need to move forward at the October town meeting with asking the community the question, and because the opportunity is before us right now, and so I think I'll let Jen go ahead and talk about kind of her vision for the recreation space, and then I can answer questions.
If it's okay, before Jen starts, I just want to say, I think I speak for all of us. Thank you for everything you've done so far. We're going to have a lot of discussions, obviously, but with the select board and what you have done already, and Jen, thank you. This is a long time coming, and we appreciate everything you've done.
Oh, thank you.
Very exciting.
Oh, I don't know if someone's in the hall. Hi. So I just have a few slides about basically what my vision, and I've had some conversations with Josh and Gretel as well about what we see about all the opportunities that could be before us if we were to get this space. So as you know, we do a pretty good job with what we have using the schools and our fields and our outdoor facilities, but having an indoor facility of our own would really be a game changer. So, and I just want to preface this by saying none of this is set in stone yet. There's a calendar that I have in this presentation that is also, it's just sort of preliminary idea of how I think that we could run this center. But again, open to other feedback and things as we move through the process. So I know this has come up before, so community center hours. Based on other community centers that I've looked at, these are sort of kind of some standard hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 8, Saturdays 10 to 3, Sundays closed, and pool hours would only be open for specific programs. The way it would be staffed, so obviously I'm still here, we would hire a new community center manager who's sort of in charge of all of the programming, the room space, scheduling out what's happening at the center. And then the program coordinator would be sort of under that community center manager. And then obviously we have the golf manager. And then our non-aquatic staff would be community center attendants. So these I envision as being high school or college age students, or really anyone that would work sort of on a part-time basis, nights and weekends, to check people into the center, and just make sure things are running smoothly sort of after hours. And then for aquatic staff, we would need lifeguards. And I'll get into that in a little bit, because I bet you're all thinking, can't get lifeguards at the beach. How are we going to get them at a pool? But, yes.
What funds the current, like, if the beach was open and we had lifeguards, is that funded by the budget or the revolving account?
The revolving account. So if we have lifeguards at the beach, we charge a yearly membership day pass. Yeah. And actually, thank you, Colleen. So those community center attendants and lifeguards, those are anticipated to be funded out of our revolving account through program fees, similar to how we do now in the summer. We run a basketball camp or clinic. All of those coaches and stuff are paid through program fees. So just a brief overview again, nothing is set in stone, but a community center manager, this is sort of what I envision them doing day to day, basically overseeing the daily operation of the center. And right now we're thinking that this would include both floors, except for those spaces that were solely intended for senior use. They'd be in charge of hiring and managing all of the part-time community center employees, establishing solid community center programming, making sure we're keeping up with market trends, assists in preparation of the budget, and assists with community center expenditures. And their hours would be slightly different as well. I'm thinking that they couldn't kind of operate the way we do with that shorter day on Friday, that they'd have more of a set like 9 to 6 type of schedule. But again, nothing set in stone. This is just a draft of sort of what I've come up with.
And do you want us to ask questions now or afterwards? We'll go back through it.
Maybe after, if just in case, because I have a few more slides, so maybe I'll cover. So this is sort of what we're currently doing now. We were able to offer 70 programs, just using what's available to us. As you know, we offer a range of activities from STEM, art, sports, things like that. We are able to use the schools for all of our indoor programs, and the schools are great partners, but the challenge there is that we're not allowed into the schools until 6, which I think you're all aware of. Weekend program at the schools, we have to pay a fee because they have to cover their custodian costs. We're not able to use the schools on vacation or professional development days because the schools are closed or in use with other things. So if we had our own space, we could offer programming during the day, immediately after school, evenings, weekends. We could offer vacation, holiday programming. We could offer adult and senior programming at more appropriate times. Space would allow for more kind of special events like craft fairs, collectible fairs, things like that. And we could offer kind of one-off special events a little more regularly. So just some immediate programs that we could start. I see in the first 30 to 60 days, indoor pickleball, badminton, volleyball, and basketball. The way we would do that is we can get floor tape. This is what we used to do in the old Forbes gym, and we can line the court for pickleball or volleyball, and then it easily comes off the court when you're not using it. As Christy mentioned, there's already in kind of some exercise rooms that are already upstairs for aerobics or exercise classes, adult education, so things maybe like photography, English as a second language, things like that. Having just an open kind of game room for drop-in play or tournaments like chess, checkers, dominoes, things like that. And any sort of senior center programming that would benefit from more space or a different location. Because as Christy mentioned, the bottom floor is just vacant now. I mean, the Spirit Halloween is in there now, but it's vacant. So the senior center, it'd be a little bit before they were able to come in, but I think we could start offering senior and adult programs immediately. And then for some youth programs, the first 30, 60 days are enrichment classes, chess, STEM, and art, all of those programs that start at 6 p.m. now, we could start immediately after school. We'd have space for Special Olympics and other Special Olympics programs. Right now, Special Olympics dance is held, I think, Saturday nights at the senior center. We just would have more flexibility having our own space. Nightly open gym for basketball. We'd have different days for youth, teen, and adult. Vacation programs, like I had mentioned, preschool programs like parent and me classes, things like that we can do during the day. We could rent space for staffed birthday parties or other events, and just more flexibility in the summer to run more of our programs throughout the year. And then some community programs, like I said, we'd have space for kind of special fairs, craft fairs, collectible fairs, teen nights, movie nights, small concert or band nights, bingo or trivia night, an after-school club. I have this vision of kids, older-ish kids, like 6th, 7th, 8th grade, coming, not necessarily care, like I said, but space for kids to come do homework, hang out, socialize. And then almost the same for seniors. Senior socials, Alma and I were talking today, just having a space for seniors to come, maybe have a coffee and just meet other people in a friendly environment. So this is my calendar, but before I show it, I just want to be very clear to anyone watching, these programs are not real as of right now, but this is just sort of how I envisioned a month could be if we had our own senior
Can you
center.
go back 3 slides first? There was something I wanted to.
Yep. Is this one?
One more.
Current? What was it about?
Oh, yeah, 2. Oh, okay.
Good.
Yeah.
So this is on top of what we already offer. This is a sample calendar of what we could do. So I think I have up here, yeah, if this was the month of January, we would be running our typical rec basketball program, which is very large, and our ski program, which is very large, but then we would also be able to run things like this. Like again, that parent and me kind of craft class, indoor pickleball. Our STEM program could start at 3. We could offer swim lessons. And then at night, we could have an open gym for adults or youth or teens or whatever. Fridays, I have here some special events, like maybe a guest speaker. We could have, like toddler music. In the summer, we had this great guy come out to Bay State, and we had about 20 families show up for that. So I think we could offer things like that more regularly. Like I was saying, some one-off special event type things. Lunchtime pickup basketball, just kind of an open gym we'd set ages again for probably adults at lunchtime, come in, play basketball. So this is just sort of a sample of what we have kind of brainstormed for things that we can do. Again, nothing is set in stone, but this is just to give people an idea. Aquatics. So the pool is 1,500 square feet and is only 4 feet 5 inches deep. So per the Department of Public Health, this is called a non-swimmer pool. So therefore, there can be 100 people that could be in the pool at one time. But that would be pending sufficient lifeguard staff. And we need 1 lifeguard per 25 people. So the vendor that's currently working at or works at Boston Sports Club has reached out to me, and they can offer everything we want. They have lifeguards that they can give us. They offer swim lessons. They offer water aerobics. They even have a CPO on staff. So I think partnering with them or contracting with them, again, I have to kind of flush that out, would be the way to go here. But I think there's some real potential for some really good aquatic programming. After speaking with them. Again, we can do special events, dive-in movies, Special Olympics swimming. They currently use, I believe that's wrong, I think it's the Y, but they're limited on space. The Y is very gracious to give us what they have, but they only have so many lanes available. And so I think with our own space, we'd be able to offer them a little bit more space. And then opportunities for enhancement in the future. So with the CPA, or Community Preservation Act, starting up, I think that there's ways to enhance the space. Some ideas that I had: a walking track, an arcade style or e-sport room, TV and sound system, casual leisure space or furniture, And then there'll be a lot of community engagement. Christy and the select board and me, we're very committed to hearing what the community wants. So after this community engagement piece, I think we'll have a better idea of how we want to plan for the future and be able to fulfill the needs of the people here in town. And that's it. That's all I have.
Good.
Okay.
Go ahead, Colleen.
Go ahead.
I have a couple questions. Thank you.
Hey.
Nice job.
Thank you.
So, if you go back to that slide with the programming, any sense of what percentage of that is a charge service, a fee service?
Sorry.
Your schedule.
On my calendar.
Yeah.
Want to get me in trouble. Just kidding. So I would, if I don't have a percentage, but I would say maybe like the parent and me class, I think we would charge. But again, too, it's still the rec model of we're not trying to make a huge profit. It's just to cover. Senior fitness, we probably would have to charge, but I think lunchtime basketball could be free. Just the gym is there. We have basketballs, just come in. Swim lessons would be a fee. Open gym, I think we could do very, very low cost. STEM would be a fee. So I would say 80-20. Yeah, it depends on what we do. Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of related to that, Jen, what percent of what we do today where we need space someplace else will now be covered by this? Like, how much of our programs will now be in one location?
That's a good question. I can get a better answer.
A lot of this is new, though.
And a lot is new.
Like the music one, the stuff she can only run outside.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now she can run it year round, or for the first,
Right.
So a
I'm
lot of
thinking
this
like
is
basketball
new.
and all that stuff.
So
I'm trying to get things out of the school if we can.
and we will. So those classes like STEM, chess, art, all of that stuff would move into the community center. But basketball, as you know, is such a huge program. While we would certainly utilize our gym, we would still need to lean on the school for that.
Jen, I have a question.
Please.
How many other community centers that you know of have an indoor pool?
Concord has one with 4 pools. Lexington's community center does not have a pool, but they do run a town pool. Sudbury has an indoor pool and they call it their community center. So that's 3 that I know of off the top of my
What about
head.
the new one in Upton?
It's pretty unique.
Yes.
The new one in Upton, do you know? Do they have?
I think that's just a senior center. Yeah.
Right, okay, thank you.
Do you have a sense of how many more program, like Northborough runs compared to us, because they have a community center?
I don't
I get a lot
know.
of their emails, so I see what
Right.
they offer, but.
I think that what they can do with their own space that we can't is just, like I said, the vacation programming. They can run stuff during the day, even in that small gym that they have. And when we had Forbes, we really utilized that space. I mean, I remember running a paint night in there.
The kids craft during the day.
Yeah, we used to do like a toddler time gym in there. And that gym, if you remember, I mean, it was nothing special, and we made use of it.
And you mentioned the custodians are often an issue. Who's going to maintain this for us? How are we going to handle that with custodians? Christine, could you give us an answer, please?
Sure.
Question.
So our custodians are all employed by the DPW under the facilities and fleet manager, but we have identified that we would need an additional custodian position. So at this point, when we're talking about any additional staff that would be needed, it's the one that Jen identified, a community center manager, director, and then also one additional custodian.
Is it one, or is it one FTE that you'll split to 2 part-timers? I'm just curious, because what if someone's sick or whatever?
Well, so we do already employ two full-time custodians plus the manager. So we would expect to continue, we would use them as well, but we would need an additional FTE, so.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Yeah.
So to add on to that question, it looks like the center would be open 12 hours a day. Are you gonna be able to staff that with? Would there need to be a custodian there every second that it's open, every minute that it's open, whatever? I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I don't think that we anticipate needing someone there for the full 12 hours a day. What we do now is a lot of times, depending on what the community program is, when they use our buildings, especially if there's food or things like that, we have a custodian come in. They pay for that to have a custodian come in. So I think we anticipate a similar model. Right now, we have a custodian who spends a certain number of hours per week up at the senior center. I think we would anticipate something similar. But we definitely need that additional custodian because it is such a large building. Whether or not they're completely dedicated to that building would really be determined by the manager.
Related to that, schedules. We're saying no to Sundays. Is that arbitrary, or is there a hard, fast reason why we don't do anything on Sunday?
No, it was just sort of, I feel like people have obligations on Sunday. It was just really, and I think one of the other community centers that I looked at had either limited or no hours on Sundays, which is why. But again, it's up for discussion. I think when we get there, it will probably come before this board to see what we want to do. It's not to say if we have an influx of people that really want to have birthday parties on Sunday, then it's.
Seniors might like something to do on Sundays
Yep.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Thought about basketball, too.
Yeah,
Go to
yeah.
basketball.
I think the intent is that the programs like they are now would continue to be self-sustaining. So if we had a need for Sundays, we one of the things that we keep saying is the community center, it's not like a police department or a fire department where you need cells and evidence room and very specific things. And that's really why that community engagement process is going to be so significant. So in addition to talking about what the uses are, we'll learn more about, the anticipated scheduling that people are really looking for.
So the town owns the land there? Who owns the land?
So we would own the land around the building.
Just around the building?
Yep.
So we would be responsible for like snow removal and stuff like that too?
So we would enter into an agreement with the folks who own Bay State Commons to do the outdoor maintenance so that it would be consistent throughout the plaza.
What year was that building built?
2008, I believe.
Just one elevator to the second floor?
Yes.
Only one?
Yes.
Nothing for loading docks in the back or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Any thought about possibly putting, have you used that one? It's slow. Is there, can we put another one in?
It's all part of the discussion. So I think what we want to help the town meeting understand is what sort of a really basic use of that building would be, specifically the lower level. The lower level with the senior center moving in, we know it's going to need a commercial kitchen to support the senior center and the community. And so we want to we're working right now with an architect to get just a really basic estimate so that we can identify that. And then anything additional would just, put the price up from there, depending on where we end up for use and other things.
That makes sense. That's good.
And also for me, one of the things we talked to the seniors, at the senior center today too, is that there's a lot of ideas, but we don't have to do everything at once.
Yeah, right.
So
It can be a phased in.
it can be
Yeah,
phased
for
in,
sure.
especially with all that space. I mean, it's, I think that, whatever we build out, we may not build out all the space at once because,
Yeah.
leave it a little bit more flexible.
How much is the Steinmart retail, but then behind the wall, there's all their stock, or was? How big is that relative to what we could see as a consumer of the retail side?
I'd have to look at the floor plan. It's not huge.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh.
There's a mezzanine in there.
Yeah.
Which they
Oh.
used as well, so I had like a conveyor.
Interesting, okay.
One of the layouts on my slides shows it. I don't remember if it specifies the square feet, but it's not huge.
I have a quick question that might not be related to the space. If we move the senior center, what will we do with that piece?
We don't have any identified need for that building, so, we would probably sell it unless some sort of identified need comes up. But I anticipate that we would sell it after we fit up the building and then we were able to move folks.
Or just me wondering?
It's a question that a lot of people are asking. I think people are wondering, if we sell the building, does that 8.8 come down? The immediate answer is no, because we wouldn't obviously be able to make those transactions work in time. So the question before town meeting is that 8.8. million, but knowing that we're gonna, have to pay that down over a 20-year period, and then also the fit up costs, the selling of a building would play into that.
When you mention birthday parties and events like that, are you thinking that there's going to be like a conference room style office that you can have those kind of things and pull a crowd in and be self-contained? What are you thinking?
There is a room in there now, it's the party room, but yeah, I think, so I don't know if you've been in there, but the main area is, right now has treadmills and, free weights and all that, so that would be an open space, but there is kind of a dedicated party room. And then, if we wanted to offer a pool birthday party, so that would be, it would be staffed, so it'd be structured, so just, again, very rough draft. If you have a party at 2, arrivals 2 to 2:15, 2:15 to 3:15 is maybe if you're doing a pool party, that's the pool time, and then 3:15 to 3:45 is cake and pizza or whatever, and then you wrap up by 4. So I think it would be structured like that. And similarly, if you weren't using the pool, there's the gym, so we'd have a staff there that runs kind of like a mini camp, can offer games, or if you did just want to have sort of open style free play, that would be okay too, but it would be staffed and structured in a sense that people aren't just coming in to just at their leisure to just have a birthday party, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Was there an estimated cost of what it would be to outfit this place?
So no, because we don't know what we're
We don't
putting
know what
there,
we're putting in there, right?
So that's what I was saying before, is that we want to be able to give you a very basic idea of the most basic use of that building would include a commercial kitchen and rooms and offices in the lower level. So we're trying to put that together. And then if the community comes back and says that they want, I don't know, and every time I say something, I feel like people think that that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
But so if they say they want an auditorium or, something else. An elevator, the cost goes up, yeah.
If you just, yeah.
And Jen, I've never been to the basketball court up there. That's full court?
It's not,
It's half court?
It's a full 2 hoops but it's not like a regulation size basketball
you'd
court.
struggle to get high school kids to
yeah, I
play
think
so. Okay.
like a real game there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could easily run a 3rd or 4th grade.
Up to 5th, 6th grade would be.
Practices and whatnot, perfectly
Yep.
fine in there. Yeah, yeah. I was just wondering, I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I've
I
never
think
seen
at
it.
the select board meeting, someone mentioned, or maybe it was your text, but I loved it, but the indoor batting cages, is that a possibility?
That was me.
For the community engagement center.
Bill said he'd pay for it.
Community engagement, you softball people down.
So our role here is to ask questions and be a voice for the community to the extent that they have questions.
Well, I was just going to say, we talked to the senior center or the council on aging this afternoon, and we said, they could take a position. Sometimes when committees have articles at town meeting that are related to the work that they do, they take a position on that article and they report it out to town meeting. So that's something that you could decide to do as a commission. And then definitely if it moves forward, it would be really important for the rec commission to weigh in on that and be a big part of that community engagement process.
And you've already identified that it would be somewhere around 50 million if we did it from scratch, right? Is that the numbers I understood?
Yeah, so we were told to use $800 per square foot and that actually doesn't even include soft costs. So for a 64,000 square foot building, it would be just over 50 million. So if we were to build the same size, ground up.
And just to caveat, if we were, in the plans that we have talked, we would never talk about a 64,000 square
Yeah.
foot building.
Yeah.
For a community.
Right.
In Upton, that came up, theirs is 15,000 square feet,
Okay, interesting.
12.3 million
I think it's.
for outfitting. I think that was a rehab of a building, started at 9.3, ended at 12.3.
Wow.
Gives you an idea for 15,000.
Yeah,
But if you were to do that full space, I think that's a reasonable number. But we were always looking at something, and the size we were looking at new was probably 25 to 35 million.
and I think we've always talked about Chauncey, right? That was probably there. But there's something really nice about having it downtown. There's so many pluses here. I mean, you've already talked about them. I'm just going to repeat the obvious, but the value and, just the deep discount we're getting to do this. Basically, instead of wild numbers like 50 plus to what we're paying for this, the location, what's already in the building. It's just, it feels like it was meant to be. This is the right thing to do.
I feel like the value's there, as far as the money and whatnot, but I don't know anything about the building. I don't know how much you guys know about the building. I don't know anything about it. Like, obviously, we're gonna have somebody go in and make sure that there's no pipes ready to burst
Yeah.
or floors ready to fall down or the pool coming into the scene, like, that's all gonna happen to make sure that what we're purchasing is worth the 8.8.
Yeah, so there's a whole due diligence, which we would do on any property. Obviously, this one includes a pool inspection and, other things. So I just have some photos, if you haven't been in the building, that I can show you quickly if you want.
You won't see it in the photos, but I can tell you, going with my wife shopping at Steinmart when it was there, I think the seniors might have a problem with the sound. So the way it was so loud at BSC,
Yeah.
But that was with the weight
The
machines
weights.
and all that stuff, and would hear huge thumps.
Yes, but also the basketball court. So we do know that, there is a soundproofing
Yeah.
discussion specifically with the basketball court.
Okay.
So this is the building, which you're all familiar with, and I like to say that Jim Robbins told me it's supposed to look like Town Hall. So if you look at the left side, you can see how it's supposed to replicate Town Hall. And then, actually, I just want to go back to what Ian was saying. The community center that was proposed for when this conceptual design was done was 26,000 square feet. So. But there's no documents that articulate what was supposed to go into that 26,000 square
The thing
feet.
about that was, and I always thought about this, is the kids.
Yeah.
They'd have to drive or get rides to go
Right.
there. This one, they could walk right from the schools. It's
awesome.
I think that's the best thing about it.
Yeah. This is the first floor. So your question about kind of the back area, the loading dock area, you can see on here. I can't see what the square footage is, but you can see that it does not very much of that space. And then that little box that's to the right of that's that mezzanine that we mentioned, which really would function as storage if we were to keep it. And then this is just some photos that we took. So this is walking in, and the main area where all the exercise equipment currently is. It's a really large space, so that I expect would be a big part of the conversation during the community engagement sessions. This shows the pool and the basketball court.
Okay.
So you can see where the 3-point line is.
Yeah. It's a little squished.
Yeah.
After I can hit all my
I
shots
can get a
from.
half foot shot.
You dunk it, don't you?
That didn't change.
This shows 3 different rooms. So the top left is kind of like a multi-purpose room where you could do an aerobics class or yoga class, kind of anything like that. That's fully separated off of the larger area. In the middle there, it looks a little bit larger than it is because of the mirrors, but that's the cycling studio. So it's not a big space, but it would give you a small space to do a smaller program. And then the top right is, that's that town hall space when you were looking at the outside. So that's not fully sectioned off, but it's really great, like light, and it's kind of separated from the larger area for whatever you want to use it for.
Do we ever sublet town space to other parties?
What do you mean sublet?
Like an office, like if, like,
Subletter.
yeah, sublet, like if a group ever came to us and said, we'd love an office space in here.
So the town would have to decide that we wanted to do a lease, and we would have to go through a procurement, so they would have to bid on it. So it's similar to like Civic being at the golf course.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So this is that break room. Is that the party room too? Yeah. And then that meeting room is good size. And then that office space, when you first walk in behind the desk, there's those 3, behind the like welcome desk, there's these 3 desks that have that. You can see on the right side of that picture a little bit, there's a kind of a wall, so it's kind of open, but a little bit of separation.
Are those not included, or would there be negotiation abilities, like the walls?
I expect that the walls are included. The sort of those, I don't know if those are just cubicle walls or if they would go, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Exercise equipment's definitely not.
Okay.
staying.
It's not staying.
Not even like spin
No.
bikes or anything, no?
Oh, who knows
What happens,
do
yeah.
but that's not part of.
It's not part of the
That's part
sale.
Sports club owns, and we're not buying.
Yeah.
Right.
They're just a,
Okay.
you know, a lessee.
I didn't know if they had their own financial issues and trying to liquidate anything.
They haven't been a party to the negotiation, so.
Jen, real quick, have you reached out to the police department about this space? Because they can do a lot of the stuff that they like to do with the self-defense classes and the whole 9 yards in there. I mean, I was just wondering.
Not specifically,
if
but I
we're
think-
looking for more support,
And I just, yeah, it's a good idea. I haven't specifically, but I just envision, any group that
Yeah.
might need space. It's a community center.
I know my daughter's done self-defense with the police department and stuff like that. That's just a good space to do it in potentially.
Yeah. I
Just
mean,
throwing it out there.
having now had kids in this community for 14 years, like, all of these things are things that I had to go outside of town to
Yeah.
do. Swimming lessons, I did the toddler playtime in Northborough. My kids took cooking classes in Northborough because they had the space there. They did the toddler gym time. I played basketball in Forbes here, and then for a long time, we were shut out until we, were able to work our way in. So I'm a supporter of it because I just think, and you said it well, Ian, and something that I was listening to, like, yes, it's quick, but sometimes when you're in the market for something, something comes on when you're
Yeah.
not expecting it, and that's your chance to, I think we will be
Awesome
kicking
opportunity.
ourselves if this doesn't happen, for a lot to
I think a lot of people are really going to love this.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I
I think
have
we're behind it.
Yeah, I have to go for open house night, so if we were
So do I.
to vote, we should,
I don't know if the vote is on the agenda yet.
okay. Oh, for another meeting?
We could put it on.
Okay.
Can I ask just one more question then about,
Oh, then I'm out of here.
just
No,
from a community standpoint, having students going, or kids going to the community center or whoever, are we concerned about how they're going to get there from the schools to there? Like, do we have to worry about crossing over the rotary, things like that? Do we want to think ahead about that stuff?
I don't,
I mean, we'll think it.
oh, no.
Sorry, but.
No, no.
We talk about schools, there's sidewalks and crossings.
And all I was going to say, kids, if you could go to Bay State on a half day, a lot of kids go down there anyway, and Panera is packed on
yeah.
if you've ever tried to get food
It
there
is.
and you don't realize it's half day, so I think kids are already walking to the area, but that,
I think it's the middle school kids, yes.
Yes.
Right?
yeah.
The elementary school kids are probably going to be chaperoned
Right.
anyways.
That's
so.
But every day, I drive through here every day at 3 o'clock, and there's tons of kids walking in that direction.
Which is nice,
So,
actually.
it is,
I
it's
just
really
want to be
nice.
safe, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's part of what we go through active transportation. Safety, as you know, we have the bike accident close to town, we're putting in more of those crossing things, which definitely help.
Good, good.
That would be, yeah.
Bye, Colleen. Thanks, everybody.
They have middle schoolers.
Go and get that. So
Thank you.
Jen, staff-wise for the department, you see 2 additional staff for the community center. And then it would be like part-time people.
Right.
That would be
Right.
paid through the budget or through fees.
Yeah.
We did. Should I grab Brian? Go grab Brian.
Yeah.
Will you?
With my sciatica.
Is everyone going to report up to you, Jen? Is that the plan?
Well, yeah, yep. Yeah, I would be in charge
Have to
of
vote.
everybody. No, just kidding.
Are we voting? Is that why you need?
No, we can't meet without a quorum. I forget Katie's not,
Oh, yeah,
I just need him just till we wrap up.
Yeah, that makes
This is the only thing on the agenda, so.
yeah. So when do you see us voting then? I think we're excited to vote in the positive for this.
We have
in the affirmative.
I think Gretel has a meeting scheduled for October 3rd or 2nd, that first Tuesday in the month, so I think we could put it on that agenda.
I
And
just
we'd
want-
love to have somebody,
What's that?
we'd love to have somebody at the town meeting then to just speak on the fact that you go.
Very good.
If you did, hopefully you will.
Yes, of course.
exciting. I mean-
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think as Christie said, the number of things we're hearing, people say, why are you surprising us with that? It's just, I think someone else said it, the opportunity came and took some negotiation
Yeah.
and whatnot, but If this is the opportunity, if we don't, they're not gonna wait for us.
Of course not. No, you can't
Well,
blame
the
them.
fact that both features can be, functions can be dealt with at the same time.
Yes.
Because a lot of different times of something coming up, there's a lot of little resentment, like, why this one and not that one? I thought that was, and this fits the bill to
If it's
fill
built,
those
plus, and then
functions.
plus, I mean,
It's
because
amazing.
Still gonna need more space.
There's so
We can
much
figure out for the
positives. Welcome back, Bri.
Wrap up with our forum.
I'll hear
Yes, thank you. So we're saying we're going to probably vote at the next meeting, the beginning of October. Yeah. Cool. And I think between now and then too, if there's questions that we can address, I think Christie's going to be talking about this a lot, at the next selectmen's meeting and other places too. So if there are questions, feel free to let me know, and we can, if there's something specific you want to address at the next rec meeting, we can put it on the agenda, but we'll definitely plan to vote then and go from there.
We're also, we're working on a FAQ sheet, because we're hearing a lot of the questions, so if you're hearing questions, if you can filter them through Jen to us, we can add them, because if you have the question or you hear the question, probably lots of people do, so.
We wanna get them all answered or ready to answer
Yep.
these questions.
I'm sure you have enough people doing it, but if you need another ambassador to spread the word, I'm happy to do it. I think we're all happy to do it. And I think that without the formal vote, I think you should go knowing that we're all for this. So I think it's okay, at least from my perspective, to say we're for it, and even before the vote, so.
So I think one of the big things we need to do is let people understand that yeah, it's gonna cost us money, but what this provides for our community is
Enormous.
is not dollar figure applicable,
Yeah.
Like, I get it is. I mean, if they ask for $100 million or whatever, like, we're not gonna do it. But I mean, for what they're asking and for what we're getting, I mean, the gains are incredible in my opinion.
And it's for everyone,
It's for everybody.
really for everyone.
Right.
And that's why I was asking.
Location and, there's not, as we've talked about, there's not a lot of space to come about downtown.
No.
This really kind of fell into our lap.
And not downtown. I mean, when you look at the old building next to Avidia Bank that I think you mentioned
We
in
were
one of the
talking
meetings.
about- yeah,
You'd
we
still
did.
have to do something with it. I mean, this is, you're 90% of the way there, at least. I mean, at least. So
It has
this
so
is-
much more than any other building that
Yeah.
we would have even just
Yeah.
thought about or talked about.
Yeah, this is incredible. So, great. Excellent.
Awesome. Thanks.
We need to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Yeah.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye, aye.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Thank you again.
Good job.